I'm observing before I share mine that I remember, Christy, your awakening, we call it, was about, were you 30? 28 to 30, right?
I was probably a little over 30 when it
Hmm.
really started. Yeah, just past 30.
And then Vilma, you were about 25 when you started going to your therapist. And
Mm-hmm.
Jessica, you said your breakdown was at 30 and
Yeah.
mine was at 28. And I love astrology, so I'm just seeing the thread that's typically all of our Saturn returns. Yours is a little earlier. Vilma, usually Saturn return is 28:30, but since you were already so wise as a child, it makes sense yours was, a few years younger.
Yeah.
We are Divine Feminine Alchemy Circle. Our names are Christy, Jessica, Tiffany, and Vilma. Our mission is to provide a sacred space for women to learn, grow, and discover their treasures buried deep within. As ordinary women on this extraordinary spiritual journey, together we discuss all the woo-woo topics that are involved. We sometimes joke that we are embracing our witchy side. As our four friends join together in this mission to grow and serve, we will cover topics from intuition, inner child, to real-life relatable stories of how human design works to Ayurvedic. Divine Feminine Alchemy is the place for women who want to rediscover that magic in their soul and share it in a safe and empowering environment. Visit our Facebook group or Instagram page. The link will be in the show notes. This episode is sponsored by our new book, Discovering Life's Journey. Receive 20% off when you use the code POD20 on divinefemininealchemycircle.com. It is also available on Kindle on Amazon. And DFAC's monthly full moon circles, where we practice transmutation rituals together. Reserve your seat at 20% off by using code POD20 at divinefemininealchemycircle.com/shop.
I mean, aren't you much more comfortable in your own skin now than you were at 20?
Yes, I
certainly
talk
am.
about vaginas on my social media now.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Liberation.
Oh yes, it's so wonderful. Yeah, you know everything in your 20s, and then you realize at the cusp of your 30s at your Saturn return that your
I knew
responsibility starts to
nothing.
really wake you up and go, I know nothing. This is the beginning of my
Right.
life. Yes.
Oh my
Yes,
God, yes.
exactly.
Oh,
It's the unlearning, really, is what
yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah,
Unlearn everything and then rebuild. Yeah. Or
exactly.
hang on to what you had covered up. I feel like we have all these gifts and we just kind of tuck them away and we have to like get rid of the crap that's buried, burying them underneath.
Yeah, I call
Yeah.
that discovering the treasures within. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I love it. So tell us about your journey, Tiffany.
Yeah, my journey was a similar upbringing in the Christian household as a child, young child, very conditioned. I was a people pleaser. I have my open solar plexus, and I just wanted everyone to be happy with my decisions. And I did adopt it. I used to lead worship at my church youth group and at my school because I went to a Christian school. And that music was a big part. I almost majored in music. And then at church, I met somebody who I fell in love with. So I had a really interesting 20s. Like I then decided that I was going to rebel and kind of go along with, you know, his agnosticness. And I was like, okay, yeah. And the big thing that really made me susceptible to it and want to do it and realized for me that religion wasn't correct was that I was so sheltered in that Christian school. I was not taught all the basic main worldly science things, i.e., evolution. Big Bang Theory was never talked about in my school. So when I exited and I learned about that, I felt lied to. I was like, why would they keep that from me? Like, that's huge. So that whole sheltering really backfired. I had a rebellious stage. That was probably sometime Uranus was huge going on in my life there. And so, but it wasn't healthy, and it was all about him, and it was very controlling. And pretty soon I felt my soul being literally sucked into a black hole of the dark, deep darkness. And I started to see the black fog around my Saturn return. And I just was done. I was like, yep, okay, this in my Saturn return. This is not the life for me. So I chose to leave. And it was quite freeing. It was very scary. I was scared of the abyss, of the unknown. I was a person who thought that nobody else would love me. My self-esteem was really low. I talk in depth about all of the stories. I have written about it in a book, and not to go into do detail here. So I very much just found the spiritual world when I started seeing. And so I physically, that was the way that the spiritual world awoke in me, was I physically saw the darkness. I physically saw the evil and the dreams. When I left, there was a shadow person that appeared in my room. Talk about woo woo. And it scared me to death. And so all I knew was the Bible. So I went back to it. So I grabbed the Bible, I turned on the light, and I just started reading. And that happened a couple times. And once I read, I was able to calm down and go back to sleep. So seeing all of that really was my awakening. Like, there is a realm of light, there's a realm of dark, and then there's the earth realm. And I very much understood that concept. And then it just took me on to the journey of, all of this different spiritual paths. I watched every single episode of the Dead Files. Have you guys seen the Dead Files? So once I saw that shadow person, have you seen it, Christy, or anybody?
I haven't seen
No.
it, but I've heard you mention it before.
Okay, I know I keep mentioning it. I guess that because that was like my new like education about this whole like spiritual realm and world beyond like just what is talked about in Christianity.
Trying
And
to find
so
answers. Yeah.
I was trying to
what?
find answers. And I
Yeah.
remember I watched every single episode that they created, and they have like, I don't know, like a lot, like 12, 13 seasons. Like, they started way back. And what she is it's a show about a medium who goes and she assesses a house that has a problem or a property that these people are having problems with spirits. And then this retired detective, homicide detective, he investigates all of the stuff about the property's history and ownership, and as far back as he can go. He goes into the libraries of the dark, like the very old ages, and they do their investigations separately. They don't talk to each other. And I love that, because it's like, for me in the science realm, it's like, okay, are they just like cohorting and making this up, or is this really real? And so they very much, they do not, their rule is they don't talk to each other. And every single time when they have the meeting with the client, it lines up perfectly. It's like she'll have someone, a sketch artist, do a sketch of who she saw, and she'll describe all these different things. And then he'll be like, oh, that's interesting. So when after she comments about something, he'll go, oh, I did find this person. It sounds very similar to what you're talking about. And he'll bring out a photograph of that person that he found in the files. And they very much match. And every time I was like, oh, that's so like, oh, that's it. And so it just kind of took me down this path of, there's so much more out there. There's so much more to this spiritual realm. And I really love the guidance of the human design, and a lot of the ways the Buddhists I very much like, of just being mindful, meditation. I've become a certified meditation teacher, and that's just how, for me personally, I've been able to transform my mind from being that timid, like I am worth nothing person, to this, like you say, vibrant go-getter who shines her light. Like, that was not me just, a few years ago. And meditation for me really was the process of finding myself, changing my behaviors, changing my attitude and my mind through meditation.
Yeah, you're good at it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
And I think
There you go.
maybe I don't know, it doesn't really correlate to any of the past lives I've found, but in my earlier life, I had the practice of leading worship. And to me, it feels very similar in leading a meditation. Like you
Mhm.
feel through stuff and you're doing the music and all of that. So yeah, I love it.
How old were you when you started getting into past lives?
That was just last year. I discovered 2 of my past lives. I just was curious, and Natalie Miles talked about it, and she held a circle, so I joined, and then I was able to do it on my own again once I did it once to
Okay.
find another past life. But I know it can be kind of scary, and of course you
Yeah.
can stop at any moment. But for me, it provided me a lot of answers, and it helped me have a breakthrough in some of my like prideful tendencies, would you say, how, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Christy has had experiences as well. I haven't gotten there yet, but you know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Everyone,
surprised if, you know, I did one meditation, but I had a couple bad days after, and I thought, I'm gonna take a break from this and come back. So I
yeah.
don't know. I think sometimes we're not ready.
Yeah, you have to be ready.
And I think that when we're ready, things just kind of flow. So
Yeah.
but I have had a few images that I thought, or dreams where I thought, I wonder if this could be. So I had one dream. It was just very different from the rest, and that it was I'd never experienced anything like it. And it was like I was in period costume, from like I hate to say this, but slave owner days. And
Mhm.
I was married to a slave owner, and he gave me like a prop, and he said, he's gonna go, keep him in line. And I was afraid of him. And I looked over at the slaves, and I felt I had more in common with them than with him.
Uh-huh.
And I felt bad. I felt
Uh-huh.
bad for them, and I also felt bad for me.
Yeah.
And it was just a dream, and I don't know, but it was, what was weird about it is it was like, it felt like different. It just felt different than any other dream where it's all over. It was just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was very concentrated and detailed and you felt like you were there.
Yeah. And the whole, like everything, like it'd be like a set on a movie where everything was very, sometimes dreams are all over. This wasn't.
Yeah.
It was more of
Right.
so I don't know. I've often wondered if that could be, but
It
I don't know.
absolutely could be.
Yeah, I don't know. So
Or it was like an intuitive message sharing with you the perspectives,
could
if
be.
you were having a question about like why was everyone so like, allowing of that to happen.
Yeah, I knew that like I couldn't stand up to him.
Mm-hmm.
He had a tremendous power over me. I knew I had to do it, but I knew I couldn't like hurt the slaves. But I just had to like kind of pretend and go along with him. Yeah, but it was interesting. Yeah,
That's really interesting.
But yeah.
Intuitively, it feels like that is a past life only because you had the same lesson and struggle as a child in this life.
Could be. Yeah, I've often thought that, but I tend to just kind of like wait for more information. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have that. It's a possibility, and we'll see what else comes up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like if anything, that's probably the one thing I would say probably would be closest to. And then I
Yeah.
think I had one more where I was like living in a city somewhere in Europe, like it was like a single old lady, lonely. That was the meditation that we had.
Okay.
It was dark and cold, and I was like bundled up coming back from like the store, and it was dark, and I'm like, but again, I don't know if that's just my mind or real, but it was kind of lonely and depressing. So maybe
Yeah.
that's why I didn't want to feel it.
Yeah, it's possible. Absolutely.
I get a past life that was good, like memories.
That's why we have multiple ones, in my belief.
Thank you, buddy. Awesome.
Nice input from the dog. Yay.
They want to be heard too.
They do.
I wonder if dogs come back as humans, or we go.
I do. Yeah, the Buddhists believe that they do. You come back in a different, once you've reached, like you've learned all your life lessons, then you get to come back as an animal. and
Really?
be cared for and pampered. Yeah.
I'm convinced that my dog is my daughter from a past life. So
Yeah.
I'm just convinced. Don't ask me
Mm.
how. I just know. She likes to be held like a baby. She always wants to be right with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine very, very similar too. When you said that one day, I was like, I bet you mine is too, because it's like she's always,
ridiculous.
she will sit there. Does yours sit there? Well, she'll sit on her
Yeah,
butt and
it's
then
right here.
she'll like sit and then
She wants
yeah.
to be held.
Like
She'll
held like
put her
this.
arms up for me to pick her up. Yeah. And I'll hold her like a
Oh,
baby.
wow.
And my kids even hold her like a baby like this. And she's just totally just like,
Huh. That's funny. Mine just loves me. He sits by the door and waits for me to come home. When everyone's home, he'll just sit by the door. They're like, it's
Mhm.
kind of pathetic, really.
yeah. I'm like, there's other people that live here. You don't have to follow me around all the time.
Right. Yeah.
I have a difficult dog, so probably my life has to be tough. Why cannot have like a small nice dog? Yeah, and he looks like my dad. I mean, I'm not the only one saying that. It's like my
Wow.
husband. Yeah, my husband says that.
Oh, wow. You need to post a picture. You ever see those pictures? People that look like their dogs.
That's
For their
funny.
pets.
Yeah, well, no, it's about expression. I mean, it's not like my dad had like a face like a dog, but we can see like the expression when he's like, I don't know, begging for food. Well, that's it. It's really strange, but yeah, there's something there.
Yeah. The energy of like how he's being reminds you guys of your dad.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting. Hmm. Yeah.
So cool.
Well, this
Very
was
cool.
fun.
It was fun.
Fun
I hope
together.
everyone was able to get to know us a bit. We will
Yeah,
definitely be talking more about all of these different topics throughout the podcast as well.
Yeah, and I think it's
Yeah.
great. Like, you know, we're all at different places with it, and all our sensory experiences are different, but we're all open. I think that's the biggest thing, is to be open, you know, to what your experience is. And I think we all sense the world differently, which is really why I like human design, is because it's really given us the ability to understand one another, you know, and have more compassion for each other, and that we're all designed to work differently and we all have different gifts.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I think that's what I've really loved about human design. So yeah, we're all learning, we're all growing, we're all on this path, and I think the big thing too is like just sharing our experiences and not feeling like people are in judgment, or that we're in competition, or you know what I mean? It's just, you come across that a lot of times where you open up, you share, and then you get judgment. And I like that we don't do that with one another. You know? And truly, we've been working together for a while now, and we really, even the few moments we've had struggles, we find our way to work it out, you know.
Yeah, that's
With
true.
the intention that we are going to figure it out. And I think that we've done that, and we hold compassion, and you know, if we have a failing, we try to acknowledge it and figure out how we can fix it. And I think we've done a really great job. I'm so proud of us.
And then there's the communication that's very important, and we are using that. It's like every time something comes up, we communicate that, even if it's like a little bit, you know, uncomfortable. And then, yeah, we can say that the communication is basic for every kind of relationships, from parents with kids, couples, and
we learn from each other.
Yeah.
And you know what else I think is cool? We see each other's cycles. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like we've all needed breaks at different times, and we allow that. Like there's no like control, like no, you have to do this and that. It's very I don't know how
it's
to
like
put
the
it all into
freedom,
words, but
the freedom to be yourself.
Yes. It's really a blessing. So everybody should have that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's what we're trying to cultivate in our group. It's, you know, the culture that we're cultivating in our circles.
yeah, showing women. And I think sometimes we forget because we do have access to this and each other and a lot of amazing people, and not everybody does. So I think that we all need an example of what it is before we can do it. And so I think that's what we are trying to do for one another. Sometimes we have the strength to do it for someone else and not ourselves. And then what we find is that we end up doing it for ourselves after all. So quite beautiful. Well, yeah. So I hope you all will join and show up and give us feedback and get in on the discussions with us. So we talk about a lot of fun, interesting things and try to light up our souls a little bit each day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening in today. That was such a fun conversation and to learn about Christy. If you have comments, please DM us at Instagram account. And make sure that you just like and subscribe and review this podcast. Thank you so much. And we look forward to sharing with you our next host on the next episode.